Back. This is Bill Stevens with Music Educator Live, and today I have a very special guest. His name is Robbie Keen. How you doing, Robbie?
Doing great, Bill. How are you?
I'm good. Good, good, good. Like I said, we're going to kind of keep this laid back. Robbie went to a very special place that I hold near and dear to my heart. He went to LSU, where we both got degrees. And well, Robbie, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you said, I went to LSU, and I went kind of twice, kind of. Went first for music composition, and as I was finishing up my degree there, I went in and I asked our counselor what it would take to get the education degree after I came back, and so she decided that it would be better if I just didn't graduate yet and added all the education courses after that. So I ended up
Okay.
tacking a couple of years onto my degree, but I graduated with music composition and music education.
So
Uh,
you started in composition first, and
yes,
then you went to education. Okay.
correct.
Awesome, awesome. And, um, typically, like a regular composition degree, how long does that usually take?
You can get it done in 4 years.
4 years? Okay, alright. I know I did my music ed, undergrad, and that I thought it would've been 4 years, and, no, it was a very clear 5 years for me. So
Right.
I enjoyed that. Now, tell me, what when the counselor told you this, um, what kind of adjustments did you have to make in terms of your schedule, or was it pretty much the same?
So my schedule was pretty heavy up until I basically finished my composition degree and then started on just the education degree. Because once I did that, I really only needed to take the music education classes in order to graduate. I had a couple of gen eds that didn't transfer over, so I had to take those, but I did those over summers, and so it wasn't really a big deal. But yeah, it was just music ed, and I stayed very active in ensembles. I stayed very active in the composition, the composer forum, and in composition lessons. And so that kind of filled out the rest of my schedule so I could stay full time. But I really only had a couple of education classes at a time that I needed to take.
Okay. And you said, you got basically, you were talked into doing 2 undergrads rather than an undergrad and then a master's degree.
Yeah, I didn't really want to do a master's. I had already basically finished the composition degree, so I wanted to get the education degree as well.
So you could
And
teach.
so I could teach.
Yeah.
And so what happened was I went into our counselor's office, my lady named Carol Larson, fantastic lady that I'm sure everybody that went to LSU music school back in the day remembers her. She's a great lady. And I just asked because I had been interested in it. I've been thinking about it. My priorities had changed a bit over the last year and a half before that. And I just said, what would it take for me to come back after I graduate and get the education degree? And she said, "Are you thinking about getting an education degree?" And I said, "Yeah, I would like to do that." And so she took my this was while I was applying for graduation. So she took my graduation application and she threw it in the trash. And she said, let's not do that. Let's just continue on as an undergrad, and you'll graduate with both degrees at the same time." And so that's kind of how I did it. So
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Now, let's kinda fast forward. You got both of your degrees. What happened next? Did you jump right into teaching, or
Yes. Okay. So I went to I got a job right the very next semester, and it was at a school that went from well, I taught sixth all the way through 12th grade band.
okay.
And so I taught there for 2 years, and that was that. What's funny is when you go and you get a degree and some college experience, and this is what you want to do. You want to teach. You want to be a band director or a middle school or a high school band director or both in my case. And sometimes you get there and you realize it's not actually what you want. Let's just put it that way. And so I taught there for 2 years and decided that I couldn't see myself doing this long term. And so I left. I actually left teaching for a few years, and I went into other things. But after anyone who is a musician and who has dedicated their lives to music gets what I'm about to say. You kind of can't walk away from it. Okay, it's eventually going to pull you back in, and so that to me is how I felt like I was leaving my life's calling, and it just like life just didn't suit me for those few years that I wasn't doing any type of music, and so um, I started applying for jobs again. I wanted to go back into and start teaching again and start doing music and you know and what happened was I made a few contacts and met some people um, that got me a job at teaching elementary school music a little bit. Anyway, so the more that they talked to me about kind of how the job would go and how they did things in the district that I was looking at, I started to think, maybe I could really have fun with this. And so I got my first elementary job about 10 years ago, and I spent 8 years at that first school. And it's Title One school, very Title One, and it to me it was the joy that I get from my job is giving kids an opportunity to get on stage and give them something that they can work for and be proud of the result of their work. To me, that gives me a lot of joy. And the kids that I worked with, they're in an underprivileged part of the district at a Title One school, and sometimes getting on stage and singing 5 or 6 songs that they worked really hard to prepare for, and they get to shine in front of their parents and in front of everybody else's parents, and they get recordings of it and everything. That means a lot to them, and so it means a lot to me. So that's what I did that for 8 years at one school, and then I changed to a different school. And so I'm 10 years into elementary school. This is my 12th year
Wow.
as a music teacher. So yeah,
All right. And this was in Texas. Is
yes,
that correct?
in
Okay.
Houston. Yeah,
Okay. I know some of our audience members are literally from around the whole country. So,
yeah.
and it's kind of interesting that you mentioned that. And I don't want to take anything away from what you're saying, but one of the things I was told is that as in the younger grades, you want them to learn, but one of the biggest things is to get them excited to continue and to be proud of doing things successfully. And um, whether that's singing an easy song, learning your first 5 notes, things like that, being successful where you are. So that's awesome. Okay, so let's kind of progress a little bit here. So you're teaching now, you're having success with the elementary students, which, by the way, you know, more power to you, man. I am definitely a secondary guy. Love high school, love middle school even more, but elementary, I don't know if I could do that. So more power to you. Now you're doing your successful teaching gig. Now tell us what's going beyond the in school activities. Tell me more about that.
Okay, so over the past couple of years, I've gotten back into composition. Um, and I guess long story short, this is probably an easy story to relate to, but um, I've w- right before I graduated and got that first job, which would have been about 15 and a half years ago. Then I got married. And so
Mhm.
I've been married now for 15 and a half years. I have three
Congratulations.
kids, and that's a very busy, lifestyle. Takes it,
Absolutely.
and so composition really just fell by the wayside for a very long time. Um, after after the pandemic, we came back to we came back to school, and that first year back, um, we were told when we started the school year, we were told as elementary music teachers, hey, here are the rules. You're still going to teach your classes, but you can't sing and you can't dance and you can't play instruments and you can't play any games where anybody has to touch or be in close proximity with each other. And I'm like,
How is that possible?
that was my question. I was like, "Do you still want me to show up? I mean, what exactly would we be doing at that point?" Now that's what we were initially told, and then right when we first started, literally a couple days before the school year started, they eased up on that a little bit and said, "Okay, you can do this and this, and you can." They gave us a little bit of leeway there. What happened was the district that I'm in, um, they they're very good with the resources that they provide for the elementary music staff. And one of the things that they did was they because we weren't allowed to do anything and we had been told we weren't going to be able to do anything, they prepackaged a lot of lessons for us to use, a lot of online resources, videos and things that would help the kids, sing without having to interact the way we normally would in an elementary music classroom.
Did you guys wear masks, or
Yeah,
how did that situation work out? Because you had them at school, right?
yeah.
For a little
I mean,
while?
we were at school that whole next year. We
Wow,
were in
okay.
person. But I had to like the rules were really restrictive. I sat at my desk. I was supposed to be behind a big plastic screen, and I kind of felt like David Letterman or something, just sitting at my desk telling kids stuff, but not able to like interact with them or give them instruments um and so yeah, we sang with masks on. It was, it was what it was. We did what we needed to do.
Yeah.
But what bothered me about the lessons that the district had provided, and I was very grateful that they did that. Don't get me wrong, but none of them had me in it. And
Oh,
being the egotist that I am, I said, I've got to put myself in these lessons, or else, it's not going to be special for our school.
yeah.
And so I started making my own YouTube style videos based on what the stuff that my kids liked to watch on YouTube. I would kind of imitate that and make a music lesson based around, whatever that prepackaged lesson was talking about that week. And
Wow.
I guess that kind of scratched a creative itch of mine. And I started after that school year was done, I started writing music again, thinking, I can write some songs for the kids to sing, and have, hey, one of my own songs in some of our concerts. And so that was the first idea that I had. And so anyway, long story, sorry, but
No, no, it's fine.
I, I started writing a lot of music at that point, and after a while, I started saying, I could actually, um, maybe other people would want this. Maybe it's good enough for other people to say, oh, I want my kids to sing that. And so I have a website and a business where I write custom music for anyone's. I'm making a leap here from kids show tunes to any type of music that somebody would want for whatever project they have, whether it's ads or videos that they're making for YouTube and they want their own music. Um, so I'm doing a lot of music composition projects for different clients for different purposes.
Okay, can we jump over to that website?
Yeah, it's RobbieKeenMusic.com.
Start. Alright, so this is your website?
Yeah, that's it.
Alright. Looks professional,
So
man.
thank you. And as you can see, I've got my first single that I'm releasing on Spotify coming to the end of January. It's called Elevate, and my passion projects that I'm releasing on Spotify over the next, I say Spotify, but any streaming platform. Um,
Mm.
I'm going to release a series of singles over the next year that are kind of in the electronic down tempo genre, and Elevate's the first one of those. So
Awesome. This is very cool. Uh, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off because now let's talk about real quick. You're doing these compositions. You're creating actual products for people to. I'm assuming to share, use, purchase, all those things. Um,
sure.
w- do you have any desire to maybe teach the skill of composition with other people, or tell me about that?
Okay, so that's kind of the second half of this business that I've started. Is, I've been teaching I've been teaching young people music for 12 years now. I got experience from pre-K kids, 3 and 4 years old, all the way up through high school kids, 18 years old. Most of my experience for the past 10 years has been for younger kids, but uh, I've noticed in my line of work that there are a lot of uh, paradigms, I guess you could say, about what kids can and can't learn. And so, to me, I want to be able to teach kids how not just to learn the basics of music, but actually learn to start creating their own music. And so, the second half of my business is we're teaching private composition lessons to young kids, and it could be anybody from 7 or 8 years old all the way up through a high school kid that's trying to learn to write music. I can help anybody in any of that age range and skill level.
Now, when you're
And so,
talking about, oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, some of our students that are really gung ho in high school,
Mhm.
sometimes they get the opportunity to take a theory class before they go to college, and sometimes
Sure.
they really don't. Would this be something that would help them maybe get into college or maybe even become a composition major?
100%. Now, if you're asking if it's like a credited class or something, no, it's not. But if we're talking about a kid that wants to go to college for music or music composition specifically, this is definitely going to help them because uh, you know as musicians, when we're going to college for an instrument, let's say you major in trumpet performance. Okay, chances are that kid has taken private lessons on trumpet for a number of years leading up to
Yeah,
their college audition. But how many composition students get that same opportunity? Some do, but it's not to the same degree. And so,
agree. Yeah.
if somebody's interested in going to college for music composition, absolutely this can help them because I can teach them the basics of especially if they're already in high school, then they know how to read music. But now we're talking about how to create a melody from scratch, how to work with that melody, and create different versions of it for different parts of their musical piece, how to harmonize that melody, how to create the chord progressions and the chord structures underneath. All of that stuff, I can teach them, and they have a solid foundation going in to college.
Now, this is, we're talking maybe our upper level students, and you said you also have the ability to foster in the education of composition with the young ones too.
Absolutely, because um, now with an older kid, we're gonna start writing music a little faster because they already
Yeah,
have. They're gonna be coming to me. Let's say a 14-year-old who's starting high school has had probably 3 years of band or choir or orchestra before before they come to me. So they've got that basic foundation. But a smaller kid may not. have that. So it might take us a little longer to ramp up to actually writing music, but we will get there and probably quicker than you think.
Hmm. Yeah, one thing I've learned is don't underestimate the young ones. They're
Right.
smarter than they may seem sometimes. Um, and question: do you do these composition lessons virtually, or do you do them live? In person, or is it a combination?
It's a combination. Right now, everything is online. And so that allows me to have students from anywhere in the country.
Okay, well that definitely helps.
Yeah.
And do you use different kinds of software? Is there any kind of prerequisite students need to have before taking lessons, or it's just take the students where they are and go from there?
No, we I can start with anybody, even if let's say they have zero musical experience, I can start with them. I mean,
Okay,
think about it. I'm teaching kids that you know that are coming to me at some of them are coming to me at 4 years old,
wow,
and we're starting with some foundational basics of music there. But um, with composition lessons, I'm kind of capping the minimum age at about 7 because we need to be able to dig into the foundations of even reading music first, and so
yeah,
7 years old is a good starting point for that.
that makes sense. That
Yeah,
definitely makes sense. Um, and is there, I'm just kind of going on this. Are there any additional points you want to make about this business, or maybe how to contact you, or any of that nature? Anything of that nature?
sure. You can go on my website, robbiekeenmusic.com. You click on services, and it has two forms on one on each side of the page. One is for, hey, if you'd like some custom music written, and you can tell me about your project, what you're going for. On the other side is, if your young student would like to learn composition lessons, you fill out that form. I can get back to you real quick, and we can set something up.
Great. And is this limited to, like, 7 years old to high school, or is this would you be willing to take on, like, maybe older adults that just wanna learn how to write music? Are you willing to
Sure,
do
why
that
not?
too?
I mean, I haven't had anyone older come to me for that yet.
Okay.
But it's not like I would be unwilling to teach someone. I can teach anybody that wants to learn. So, let's say, like you said, it's an adult, but they want to start learning to write. I can definitely help.
I know, the reason I say that is, when COVID happened for me, uh, the music store that I did private lessons with went bankrupt. And so all those students I have had the choice. They could either stop or they could continue with me online. And believe it or not, most of them actually stuck with me. And some of them were older adults. And to this day, I'm still teaching those older adults. And for them, it's like part of the bucket list. They enjoy the company. It's a combination of things. Um, so I definitely recommend, if this is something you want to do, everyone, all of the audience people out there, definitely check Robbie Keen out. And the website again is what? Robbie Keen,
RobbieKeen.com. And it's Robbie with an
RobbieKeenMusic.com.
IE, Robbie,
Very
keenmusic.com.
awesome. And is there a contact form on the website, or do you have any other
Yes.
way to contact you?
You could, uh, if you fill out those contact forms, it gets right to me, or you could just send me an email at robbie@robbiekeenmusic.com.
Oh,
That works
perfect.
too.
We edit.
Sure.
So, all right. All right. So, Robbie, I want to thank you for being a guest on Music Educator Live. And we definitely want to hear from you again. If you want to contact Robbie for composition lessons, please do so. Check out his website, robbiekeenmusic.com. See you later, everybody.